Hi, guys. Welcome back to the That's Where I'm At podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the trauma bond. I want to talk to you about my story and how, when I first left my marriage, I had the weirdest feeling. How could I love him and how could I hate him at the same time? I didn't understand that at all. I didn't understand how that was possible to love somebody and hate somebody at the same time. And then as I started to learn about narcissistic abuse, I learned about the trauma bond. And the trauma bond is a real chemical reaction where we are missing our abuser. The person who is abusing us is also the person who's soothing us. And so it's so confusing, but there's an actual chemical reaction happening. So let's talk about why, when you have the trauma bond, why can't you just walk away? And how do you start healing? I hated him and I also missed him every single day. I mean, we had spent 33 years together, so of course I was missing him so bad. I didn't understand. I didn't understand that. I hated him so much. Um, before I even knew about the trauma, but before I knew what was really going on behind the scenes, I hadn't unraveled all the lies and everything. I still was starting to, before I knew what was going on behind the scenes and unraveling his lies and betrayals, I still had that feeling of, okay, well, I just decided to get a divorce. Okay, now we're divorced. And I'm still like, my brain is still wanting to figure out where he is. My brain would ask me, where's my husband? Don't we have a husband? And I'd have to tell my brain literally, no, we don't have a husband anymore. Stop it. And my heart was broken, broken. Why did I get divorced? Why couldn't he just love me? Why couldn't he just acknowledge me? And why couldn't he like me? Oh, that was a big one. I wanted to be liked by my husband. I didn't think that was too much to ask, but I really didn't think he liked me. He would tell me he loved me, but he didn't act like he liked me. And I didn't understand why we couldn't just make it work. And so we got divorced and I still missed him. I also didn't know until I started to understand some things that were happening that you can actually have two opposing thoughts. You can actually hate somebody and love somebody at the same time. You can miss them and still be glad that you left the relationship. I didn't understand that. So the trauma bond is, your abuser. The trauma bond happens when your abuser is also the one who's soothing you. You get that intermittent reinforcement. And so that's why you stay so attached. It's like a slot machine. You never know when you're going to be rewarded with the good, but you know it's coming. And so it makes you hang on longer than you need to. There was so many times where I would see the good in what was going on in the day. And then maybe at the end of the day, I would get scolded or I would get told that I did something wrong. Was often told when we were coming home from a party, all the things I did wrong and how everybody was so embarrassed by me because I laughed so loudly or whatever it was. It was always about me being too loud. And that's how he kept me really quiet. And so the intermittent reinforcement was, oh, we were having a good time and he seems happy and we seem happy and things are going great. And then I would get scolded for being too loud, being too much, being too whatever. I also think that when they tell us that we're too much, it's because they can't handle it. Narcissists usually can't handle when we're too much, whatever that means to them. They want you quiet and small, and basically they want you to be gone, but making you quiet and small is a good start. And I wonder if you can relate to any of this. So we are all susceptible to the trauma bond. If you've been in a relationship with an abuser for any length of time, we're all in a psychologically abusive relationship, regardless of whether being hit or not. And with that, it actually forms the trauma bond. It can happen really fast. And so you may feel shame about that. So many women on my Instagram, so many women on my social media will say, I stayed longer than I should have. I stayed too long. And the thing is that that's because we were being lied to and we lived off of hope. And so, of course, we're thinking that it's going to get better because we do see it getting better. We see it getting better. We see them loving us. We see them being good to us. We experience those things. And so it's hard because then we experience the bad side of them psychologically abusing us, backhanded compliments, being rude to us, telling us we're nothing, telling us we'll never amount to anything, telling us we're not good at certain things, telling us that everybody else in the world does things better than we do. And like I mentioned earlier, he would tell me that nobody likes me. Everybody at the party was so embarrassed by you and what you had to say. If I gave an opinion, it was the wrong opinion, and everybody was embarrassed by that. I can't believe you said those things like that. And so we get both sides, and this keeps us in the trauma bond. So when we leave an abusive relationship, we're going to feel shame because we've stayed too long, or we think we've stayed too long. Why didn't we see what was going on around us? Why did we allow somebody to treat us like that? And many people don't realize that the trauma bond is really strong and the confusion hits even harder after you leave. The chemical cocktail that's happening to get your brain hooked is the oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, and adrenaline. It's all happening at the same time, and it strengthens the bond rather than weakens it. And so that's why we need to, and that's why when we leave abuse, we have to start building all those good chemicals back into our brain in other ways on our own, with laughter and exercise and doing things that we enjoy, learning about things we enjoy, doing new I doing new projects and crafts and trying new things, new sports or new activities, singing, laughing, dancing. All those things are so good for us, and they help us get the good chemicals back in our brain rather than trying to chase what they did, which we get into the good memory trap. One amazing trip, one perfect weekend, that single jackpot payout, it can really make us rationalize that everything was good. And it wasn't good. It was just a moment. It was just one amazing event. And we can even look back and say, like, oh, we had such an amazing trip. And I can think back to some really good trips we had, but I think they were good in chunks. They weren't good the whole time. They were only good in chunks. And then there were issues. And then we got into a fight. I mean, we fought our way across this country for sure. So even after leaving, your body stays on alert and your nervous system doesn't just calm down. It's it's been trained to be hypervigilant. And you may still be waiting for the other shoe to drop, even in safe situations. So remember that you weren't addicted to him. You were addicted to the hope of the person he pretended to be. You were addicted to the good times. And we allowed, cut that part out. So here's the part I really want to spend time on, because understanding the wound is only half of it. The other half is learning how to heal. So the first thing so the first thing we need to do is acknowledge what happened. We need to name it. You cannot heal what you refuse to look at. You increase your awareness. That's the crucial first step. You recognize that the relationship was not healthy and that you deserve better. Saying out loud, even just to yourself, I was in a trauma bond. This was abuse. That's not being dramatic. That's telling the truth. The next thing we need to do is go no contact. This is imperative when you are in a trauma bond. The no contact rule isn't just about avoiding uncomfortable conversations. It's about protecting yourself from further manipulation and creating the space you need to heal. So I often get DMs from women who say, like, I saw on social media he's doing X, Y, and Z. And the first question I have is, why are you watching his social media? Instinctively, when I got divorced, I decided that I was going to completely go no contact with him. I didn't know I was in narcissistic abuse when I was first getting divorced. And I was instinctively working on ways to protect myself. And one of the reasons why I wanted to go no contact was because I knew that he was going to end up with this woman that he was messing around with behind my back. He said she was just a friend, and I just didn't believe him. And so I said to him, I know you guys are going to end up together. I don't want to watch it happen. So I actually went in and I unfriended everybody that was like a mutual friend that was his, mostly like his original friend. And then I blocked him. I didn't want to see anything happen. I didn't want anybody to tag him and then I accidentally see it or anything like that. So I just completely blocked him. And that is something I instinctively did. And I'm thankful that I did, because while they didn't post immediately on social media that they were together, eventually all the pictures started happening and I act and I actually had someone reach out to me and say, "Did you see your ex is dating so and so?" And I said, "No, I didn't, because I was on no contact." I didn't know that going no contact was really the way to break the trauma bond. So going no contact disrupts the pattern of trauma bonding, allowing you to detach emotionally and begin to see the relationship for what it really was. We have to go no contact. Now, if you are co-parenting with somebody, you can go no contact on their social media and then just have a communication through email or through a parenting app, but you do not need to follow their social media. There's no reason. Some people have told me, well, I want to watch their social media in case they say something about me. No, we don't need to do that, because every time you do that, you're still trauma bonded to them. That you still get that dopamine hit and you shouldn't be getting it from them. The other thing too is we think somehow that they're going to be miserable without us. No, they're not going to be miserable without us, because they need a new supply. So they're actually probably going to post some really hurtful things, and especially if they know you're watching. The hurtful things they might say are like, "This is the love of my life. I've never met anyone like this person that I'm with now. No one has ever loved me like they do, and I have never loved anyone like I love this person. Would you want to see that? You wouldn't. So that's why you completely have to shut down their social media. You have to acknowledge the reality. If you share children or you're still in the same home, full no contact may not be immediately possible, and that's okay. Low contact, firm boundaries, and minimizing engagement all count. No contact is not cruelty. It is survival. It is survival. Sometimes the narcissist will say, maybe we can just stay friends. And it's only because they want to control you. Let me be very clear. Staying friends with them is intentional for them to keep manipulating you. They want you. They will use the we should just stay friends scenario because they want to mess with you. They've been abusing you, manipulating you, gaslighting you, and now you're getting divorced. Why do you think they're going to change? They're not going to change at all. And now they know which buttons to push on you because they installed them all. So just be very careful of that. And if you need support of that, I'm here to help. Okay, so this next step is my biggest thing. Other than no contact, this was the other thing I did, journaling. Journaling can provide clarity and validation, helping you expose the fantasy of the relationship and ground yourself in its reality. Write down the abusive behaviors, create an objective record of what actually happened, what I like to call the shit list. Write out a shit list. They lied, they cheated, they stole, they did this, they did that. My ex called me Shamu anytime I had a snack. My ex lied and said that she was just a friend, but she wasn't. These kinds of things. Remind yourself. So when your brain, which our brain wants to go, and sometimes well-meaning friends want you to like think about the good times. We do not think about the good times in narcissistic or any kind of abuse because that will keep us in the trauma bond longer. What you want to do is look at the shit list and say, like, okay, these are all the abusive behaviors he did. These are all the abusive ways that he treated me. He lied to me. He stole my money. He isolated me from my friends and family, etc. You're not posting this anywhere. You're not doing anything with it other than keeping it. And actually, my Married to a Nice Guy journal has a page in the back for you to write a shit list. But also write about you. What do you love? What did you give up? What do you want your life to look like now? This is something that I actually take my clients through in a very intentional way because the journal becomes a map back to yourself. And I also have other great coaches who can help you dream about your future. The next thing we can do is reconnect with your dreams and your identity. You know, narcissistic abuse really slowly erases you, your interests, your friends, your goals. No contact creates space for self discovery, reconnecting with your passions, setting new goals, and investing in personal growth. I learned how to paint. Why did I do that? Well, because I grew up in a house where my dad was the painter, and I didn't think anybody else was allowed to paint except him. And when I tried to learn how to paint, my ex, like, my ex actually made fun of me or really didn't encourage me. My ex didn't really encourage me when I was painting in the past. And so I really was embarrassed about it. And I didn't bring my paints out or my papers out to do any sketching, nothing, because he would mock me and really not encourage me. So I felt really small and insignificant. So I never learned how to do that. So a little while ago, I learned how to paint with acrylics and I loved it. I had a great time. And guess what I learned? I actually do know how to paint. It wasn't just my dad who could paint, it was me too. It's the same thing with my book. While I'm not the world's best writer, I'm getting better with every book that I write. And my dad was a writer, and I never learned how to write because I thought he was the only one who was allowed to write. And my sister was the same way. She was a writer. And I thought, well, they're the only writers in the family, not me. But I'm the one who has a bestseller. Actually, I have multiple bestsellers. And so I took the leap. I was brave and I decided to write. And you can go after your dreams too. Ask yourself, what did I love before him? What did I stop doing because he made me feel small for wanting it? Reclaiming your dreams is not selfish. It's one of the most radical acts of healing you can do. This is the part where we can work together on rebuilding what got buried. All right, this part is so important. Build a support system. Just as you are working to become emotionally free, the narcissist may be working to pull you back. You're going to need a network of professionals, trusted friends, and family who understand your goals and actively support your healing journey. This may include a support group. Being around others who get it without explanation is powerful. In my nice guy recovery community, everyone in my nice guy recovery community, every woman in there has been through what you've been through. So you don't have to explain yourself. You will be in a room where people get it. You don't have to explain your pain to people who haven't lived it. You can cut that part out. When you are in a group where people get it, you don't have to explain yourself. So go and find your people in person or virtually. Go and find your people. This is one I really highly recommend is trauma-informed therapy. Healing from trauma is not a simple task to check off. It's a process that happens over time with patience and specialized trauma-informed care from a therapist who understands the complexities of trauma responses. You cannot just go to a regular therapist because in trauma-informed therapy, they help you reprocess these painful memories and reduce the emotional attachments to the abuser. Somatic therapy helps you release stored pain from your body, especially for survivors who experience chronic fatigue, digestive issues, or panic attacks. For me, I had chronic fatigue. I had what was like IBS, which I know now is digestive issues from my anxiety and being psychologically manipulated. And I had panic attacks every once in a while. It was mostly constant anxiety. Your body is constantly keeping the score of everything that happened. So healing the mind and body together is not optional, it's essential. And don't skip the self-compassion. Be mindful of what you say to yourself. Remind yourself that you have many positive qualities and that you are deserving of happiness. You are learning a new way of living and it takes time. Frankly, I wanted to be healed immediately. I left my marriage and I said, I'm getting rid of the problem. I swear I thought I was going to be healed overnight. You will not be healed overnight. There is hope on the other side, but it doesn't happen immediately. The narcissist's voice became your inner voice. And part of the healing is replacing that with your own. A couple of months after I had left my marriage, I started to have my own thoughts. And I stopped one day and I said, wait, are those my own thoughts? That to me was so profound. I didn't realize I was hearing his voice all the time until I started hearing mine. And that happens when you leave abuse and you're not actively being abused, you get clarity. And it's amazing the clarity you will get when you leave. And that's why you cannot have any contact with them, because you will never be able to have clarity because they'll still be in your head. We have to break contact with them to start our healing. You spent decades pouring love into someone who couldn't receive it. It's time to pour some back into yourself. Okay, I want to leave you with this. You hating him and missing him at the same time does not make you weak. It makes you human. It makes you someone whose nervous system did exactly what it was trained to do. The confusion is not a sign that you made a mistake leaving. It's a sign of how deep the bond went. And deep bonds take time to untangle, and that's okay. Healing is not linear. Some days are going to be better than others. Some days you're going to feel like picking up your phone and looking at their social media, but don't do it. Keep going. Every single minute counts. Every single minute that you move forward counts. And even if you go back, that's okay. That's normal too. Go back, go forward, keep going. That's the point. Keep going. That's the point. Keep going. If today's episode resonated with you, won't you share it with someone who needs to hear it? Because somewhere right now, someone is sitting in their car asking, what is wrong with me? Let's get this to them. Will you leave a review, follow the show? And if you're ready to go deeper, leave a review, follow the show. And if you're ready to go deeper, I work with women one-on-one. I do DM coaching, and I also have a group. And I also have a safe group called the Nice Guy Recovery Community, where you can join other women and we do group coaching together live. Everything is in the show notes. Make sure you follow along. We're healing through this together. I'll see you next time.